Well, that was something else, Nicholas. And welcome back to TLDR. Wait a second. I'm all confluent. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, listeners of all ages, the Dork Shared Universe and Geeks Worldwide Radio proudly presents to you the greatest podcasting team in the world. He's the Fry Guy, Nick Fryer. I'm the Backcracker, Dr. Joe. Together, we are the TLDR Comic Book Club, baby. How's it going,
Dude, you are amazing. And my one sad thing about your new intro, I don't change it, but you can't tell everybody how the Woodward and Bernstein of the Dorkshire Gooniverse anymore because it's perfect. Like it's flawless the way that intro is now. But we have been back to Woodward and Bernsteining. Before you tell people about that, Joe, a reminder: whenever we are Woodward and Bernsteining, that is a reminder for you. If you just watch us on Doc's Twitch, on Twitter, on YouTube, make sure you go subscribe to one of our audio channels, whether that's Stitcher, Spotify, Apple Podcast, Geeks Worldwide Radio, SoundCloud, wherever you listen to podcasts. We're on the main platforms at least. If you're not following us there, let us know. We'll make sure we're over there because that is the only place that you can get our Friar Side Chats. And Joe, who the hell did we talk to this week?
Oh boy, it was a doozy, baby, and it was a fun one. We had AWA's Christa Faust on, and last week I talked about Peepland. I've also talked about Bad Mother and Redemption. We didn't discuss in depth Hit Me as a solo mainline issue on this, on here, but I wrote a review for it on Geeks Worldwide, and it's a tremendous book. The FOC, I think, for that is next week.
Yep, it is the 22nd of August.
You have until then to go to your local comic shop and put the Hit Me trade on your pull list so that you can get it because it is a fantastic book. It was a fantastic chat. Nick made fun of me because I did get a little, I did blush a little bit during our talk, but it was fun.
Joe does not do interviews for a living. That is not his job. I definitely come into this relationship having that advantage. However, Joe is a consummate pro and does an outstanding job. He has from day one. You've gotten better and better, but you have done a great job from day one. That said, this is the first time I think I've ever seen you flustered, and I am so happy that it happened. It could not have come at a better time, and I can't wait for everybody else to hear it too. Christa was absolutely outstanding. Some amazing insight from somebody who has a background that we've never really dealt with before, and in comics is unique as well. So she's an outstanding writer. Joe has talked about those books on the show. I did read all of our AWA stuff prior to our conversation because I was reading Hit Me as an ongoing title. I had it the first issue as comic of the week. If I had been more like Joe, I probably would have called dibs on that one, so we could have done it on the show. But absolutely a TLDR worthy book, friggin' outstanding. So yes, let your local comic shop know that you want that you want to get that trade when it comes out on September 14th. Also, Joe, we were at Boston Fan Expo this past weekend. We speaking of dumb shit that we've done, we almost got somebody in trouble with I just forgot about it until right in this moment right now. We get entrusted with a bit of something, nothing too crazy, but we get entrusted with something. We'll have the individual we're talking about on the show again at some point, so he can rip us a new one. But we go and take a picture, and then we go back and check in with this individual, and he's like, "Hey, thanks guys. I know you said you were going to do it," and then you go and put a picture out there, and we're like, "Oh," we looked at each other legitimately like, "Oh fuck."
Completely forgot. Yeah, it was one of those things because we got lost because I think we had talked with this person, then we had talked with American Dolphin, and then we got in line. We talked with Donnie Cates and Ryan Stegman, and then the process had to drop my nephew off, or my nephew got picked up because he was with us, which was great. So like a lot had happened, and so it was just like an innocent thing. Let's take a picture of everything that we got here today, and then when said person liked the tweet and then talked to us about it, I was just like, oh fuck.
Yeah. Thankfully we were forgiven pretty quickly, but it was not our brightest moment for either of us. But I will say the highlight of the weekend for us was Donnie Cates and Ryan Stegman taking a shit on Chip Zdarsky. That was outstanding.
Yes. That was
we'll have to tweet some of that out at some point this week because that was gold.
Yeah, gold, Jerry, gold.
Yeah, would they say he was like on his way out or something
on
like
his
that?
way out, yeah. Oh, that guy, yeah, he's on his way out.
Yeah. I think Donnie Cates' reaction when we said Chip Zdarsky, we told him that story. He said, "Who?"
Yeah, right.
Simply who? Outstanding. Had an
Yeah.
absolute blast. Boston Fan Expo is one of the best too, for sure. So we'll be back again there next year. And you know what? That the podcast situation they had set up, like we got to get that set up. We have the fifth fucking Hobbit. I know they had like Merry and Pippin doing their own podcast. I didn't know that was a thing, but we got the fifth fucking Hobbit. Like fuck Bilbo, he's not the fifth Hobbit. Joe Gilmore is. It's
Bilbo
bullshit.
stinks.
Yeah.
Bilbo, no, not Bilbo. Frodo stinks. I like Bilbo. Frodo stinks.
Fine, whatever.
Yeah.
Anyways, let's get to catching up. Enough of the BS. And so for me, the only one that I caught up on, not counting, of course, some of Krista's titles, was Basilisk issue 10 from Cullen Bunn. Awesome stuff. Continues to be an outstanding title. But really want to get to what's new this week, Joe. What do you got though from for catching up?
I just caught up on the Darth Vader series, issues 24 and 25. It's
Nice.
again the Crimson Dawn stuff. Like when it was tied into that, it kind of fell into a lull, but it's picked back up and really enjoyed these last two issues. I'm starting to wonder where it's going to inevitably go, though. So that's kind of what I'm looking forward to, because I feel like we should be probably closing in on
Mm.
the finish line here soon. So I'm interested to see where it goes.
Do you remember when I said I was going to stay on the Crimson Dawn stuff? And
Yeah,
then I never talked about it on the show because you know
yeah,
why? I
it
didn't fucking stay on
stinks.
top of it. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. No, like I want to like, is it Kira? Uh, Khaleesi's character. Like I like she is cool. She has potential, and like given her background and stuff. But it's just like it's the like we talk about how you have cool characters, but at some point, like a cool character hooks you, and then if you a great character writer, sure that can definitely carry some things. But like when we get just a cool character, and then we don't necessarily get this great character writing that we want, and then the plot's kind of just like not what we're just doesn't really land. Like again, we're not always going in for expectations. But we like
right.
we wanted good stories. What it comes down to, and you just don't get that. It's just
It
like
was just it was too many tie-ins and too confusing. It's like you gotta read that. It was just like, I understand. They just bit off more than they can chew,
mm,
right?
yeah,
Do boom, Crimson Dawn book,
yeah.
right? Do a run of 6 issues or 12 issues every two, whatever you want to do, and
Mm.
tell the story contained. I'm getting really tired of having to read 1,000 tie-ins for an event. It's just I'm not going to do it anymore.
You heard it here first, folks. Joe is getting tired of Tynans. I never would have thought that you would have been tired of Tynans, but
That's not what I said, prick.
well, let's move on to what's new because it's too late now. No one's going to know the difference. Marvel this week, speaking of all their Star Wars stuff, we got a lot from them this week. Of course, X-Men 13. Speaking of Donny Cates, we have Hulk issue 8. Speaking of Chip Zdarsky, he still is very much there. Daredevil issue 2. How was that, by the way?
Fantastic. He's,
Awesome.
he's definitely taking the character in a different direction
Oh,
and taking the story in a different direction, and I absolutely love it.
awesome. New Mutants issue 28, Star Wars 26, Strange 5, Edge of Spider-Verse 2, Axe Death to the Mutants issue 1, which I believe is all Kieran Gillen stuff. I may have to,
I think so. Yeah, yeah.
pop in on some of these things. X-Force issue 30, Captain Marvel 40, Star Wars The Mandalorian, written by a friend of the show, Rodney Barnes, issue 2, who we will be talking about in a little bit. X-Men 92, issue 4, Savage Avengers, issue 4, Iron Cat 3, event. There's just a lot of stuff here, and it's a lot of things that you were not reading. So I'm not going to keep going any further on the show because there's some DC shit we want to dig into.
Yeah, yeah. So let's do that. So we have the Flash 785, Flash, Catwoman 46, Harley Quinn 20, Dark Crisis, Young Justice number 3, Tom King's, I believe it's Tom King, Batman One Bad Day, the Riddler number
Yep.
1. I believe this is a one shot because it's a fairly thick book.
Mm-hmm.
DC versus Vampires All Out War number 2, Black Adam number 3, Scooby Doo, Where Are You? Number 117.
Not here.
And then and then we have Zdarsky's Batman the Night number 8. So we're closing in towards the finale here. Another great issue. Finally, a character that I think, if you've been reading this series, you've been waiting for to show up. Doesn't show up, but is mentioned. You can see where we're going next with this. So that was excellent. Batman, Superman, World's Finest, number 6, for which my nephew Patrick says is an excellent series. I've been buying those for him. And then for me, what I think is the book of the week is Nightwing 95,
Yeah,
written
we all
by
know
Tom
why
Taylor.
too. And I apologize to the artist who drew this, but we all
Oh,
know
it was
what.
Redondo. The artist was
No,
Redondo
no,
on
no,
this
no,
one.
no, no. I'm not talking about the interior. I'm talking about the variant cover that we have access to on the DC Comics review page
Oh,
that we go on. It is the one with Dick Grayson in the Speedo. We know that's why this is your comic of
so
the week.
yeah. So
But not that there's
DC's been
anything wrong
doing
with that.
this. They've been doing swimsuit variants for because I bought the Batman one right
They did a
last week.
Batman one.
Yeah, it was fucking hilarious. I bought it, and I almost bought. And they also did it for Batman, Superman, World's Finest, which I was gonna buy for my nephew to make him wildly uncomfortable, but I
Uh,
did not. I did not.
Missed
But
an opportunity with him this weekend. By the way, tried to
oh,
help him out. Tried to help him out.
the
Just
look
didn't
on
get it.
his face, the eyes bugging out of his head was absolutely priceless. But Nightwing, just continues to be. I think I said this way back when. This has the potential to be like that Daredevil type book for me, right? And Tom Taylor's doing with that character what Chip did with Daredevil, and the reveal at the end of this issue.
Yeah.
Holy shit!
Yeah. I mean,
Didn't see that coming. Didn't see it
no,
coming.
not at all. And see, and that's the. By the way, the artist on that cover we're talking about, that's Nicola Scott.
Yep.
And when that's the thing about Taylor, this is Taylor specifically, but really any writer who kind of paints himself into a corner, I'm always blown away when they do that because it's like, now how are you going to get yourself out of this? Because it's not just like how are you going to get the character out of it? Because I am interested in that as well. But we look at it like we're interested in the storytelling and the machinations. If you listen to our Friar Side Chats, that's a lot of the stuff we ask writers and artists about when we have them on the show. And I look at this here and it's like, okay, like obviously Dick's got a whole lot going on. I'm very interested to hear what happens with him, but how the fuck is Tom Taylor gonna land this plane when it comes
Yeah.
to all of this shit that's going on right now, given what happens in the last couple pages of Nightwing 95?
Yeah, because the ramifications, the dominoes that will fall depending on how this goes is vast.
Uh-huh.
So just it was friggin' I was like, holy shit,
Yeah.
just it was so good.
Yep.
So good. I want 96 right now. I mean, it feels like issue 100 is going to be something that's going to be absolutely fucking bananas.
Yeah, one thing we have our annual that we do at the end of the year, and we have like our favorite book and everything like that. But I would be curious too, because like the way you've taken to Nightwing, like so I obviously like Nightwing the character a lot, and I was reading it before Tom Taylor's run. I've documented my frustrations with things before Tom Taylor, of course, directly before I should say. But when it comes to like we're going to talk about our favorite book of the year, our surprise book of the year, but I would be curious like if we each did a list of like our top 20 books of the year and like they were the majority of the title was in that year, where things would fall on our end if we did a ranking like that, like in December as part of like a holiday season sort of thing. Because I'll tell you what, man, like Nightwing, I love Nightwing, and and it will probably be in my top 20. For you though, like the way like you texted me about that one specifically, and you read some other stuff that was really good. I wonder if this is a top 10 book for you now, or maybe even top 5.
It's top 10 for sure.
Okay.
Top 5 I'd have to really like give a think about, but
Mm-hmm.
top 10 because it's just everything I loved about, when I first read Daredevil from
Mm-hmm.
Zdarsky is what I love about this. And the issues I had were both the same. Like there was one point where Daredevil was being tied in with King of Black, and there was a period of time where Nightwing was being tied in with whatever the dumb fucking event was going on here, right? So it stalls a bit there, but like you take that away. Outside of that, like they're the same in the sense that you're taking some legacy characters here and you're giving them real depth,
Mm-hmm.
and you're writing a really fascinating story, and you're including side characters as well in a really unique way. So just it's I can't speak about this book enough and about how much I absolutely enjoy it.
Yeah, it's some awesome stuff. I mean, Tom Taylor does some great like one-off series and or like Deceased, where it's like event, obviously in like kind of his own world. But to go and dominate this like he has and kind of jump in the middle of it too, not at the beginning where like some different writers or artists would get. he and Redondo have jumped in this in the middle, and they've absolutely kicked ass. And that's another thing
Which
too.
can't
Like
be easy.
Redondo's like obviously a very good artist, but like I feel like you talk about it with Jason Sean Alexander, right? Where you feel like reading Philadelphia, especially over this last arc, it's just like he's gone to another level. And I feel like with Redondo, when I was reading Nightwing 95, it's like everything just looks a little bit crisper. He was
Yeah.
already a very clean artist. Like where like we talk about Jason Sean Alexander, he gets kind of like he's horror, so things kind of
Frenetic. Yeah.
yep, and that works for the stories that he's helping he's telling. But with Redondo, like he's clean, but now it's like this issue had a different level of crispness and that I appreciate very much.
Yeah, very crisp, very crisp.
But speaking of Jason Sean Alexander, we have a book set in his world that we want to talk about from Image. Before we do that, though, we got the crossover 3D special of crossover issue 1. Undiscovered Country issue 20. Didn't get to read this one yet, but I've been enjoying their return because there was a kind of a pause in the action there. Do a Power Bomb issue 3, a book you love, but the title not so much.
Just call it Power Bomb. Boom.
Bloodstained Teeth issue 5, which the trade for that is coming out soon. Seven Sons issue 3, which I continue to enjoy, and we'll talk about on the show after the first arc. Ordinary Gods issue 8 from our guy Kyle Higgins, which has been a really good series. That one, another one that had a long pause in the action. 20th Century Man issue 1, The Last Shadowhawk issue 1, Razorblade Small Cuts issue 1, and then Shirtless Bear Fighter issue 2. I'm sorry, Shirtless Bear Fighter volume 2 issue 1. I'm very biased. If it's a title that we like, then I don't mind the volume 2. But if it's someone else, I get very annoyed by it.
Yeah,
I can't hide my bias. So, Joe, we have 3 Image books we wanted to dig into. Where do you want to go first?
I'll go first. I'll start with Silver Coin because I know you've fallen off this one a bit and you haven't read it.
I don't know why. I got some downtime coming up, so I'm going to do this.
Yeah, you should. Let me tell you what. This was the most fucked up book of this series I've read yet.
As fucked up as Eyeworms, or
it's the most fucked. It's the most fucked up issue of this book. I don't know who Johnny Christmas is. It feels like a nom de plume. But this also was the first time in which there was a warning at the beginning of the book.
Get the fuck out.
Some of the imagery may upset or offend certain readers. It discusses X, Y, and Z and shows graphic X, Y, and Z. So you have been warned. Something to that effect.
Damn.
And it wasn't the best Silver Coin story that we've had so far, but it was the most fucked up. It was.
That counts for something.
It was like woof. Oh fuck. That's yep. That's something. I just read that. So. I mean, this arc of Silver Coin has been fantastic.
Well, this is a new one, no? This is 13. Is this not the new one, or is it 5 issues? I forget for Silver Coin.
Oh shit, I can't remember now. I think it might be 5 issues.
Okay,
but we this is like there wasn't a pause between 12 and 13, right? So I feel like but anyways, yeah.
Yeah, I got to get back on my shit with Silver Coin. There are definitely some books that I've fallen off on that I don't want to, and Silver Coin is one of them. One that I have not fallen off on, though, is Above Snakes. Of course, we've only got 2 issues of that, so it makes it very easy for me. But we talked to our guy Sean Lewis about this a while back, and Hayden Sherman, of course, is the artist on this series.
I called him Christensen again.
We were talking to somebody at Boston Fan Expo about some shit, and Hayden Sherman came up, and you fucking did it again. I caught you.
You did. Yep. I just
want it to be well documented, Hayden Sherman, that I have not once called you Hayden Christensen.
I want him on the show just so I can call him Hayden Christensen and never correct myself at this point.
Oh my God. But I'll tell you what, so obviously we read that first issue and we absolutely loved it. We couldn't wait for the second issue, especially after talking to Sean about it too. And again, another kick-ass issue. Sean talked about that propulsion into the next into the next issue and everything like that. We definitely get that here. We explore another character and another side of Dirt and all this. We see a little bit more of his humanity. Um, and we see another character who's kind of dealing with like that whole like ragtag group of people
Yeah.
that he had that like they're all trying to avenge their family and shit.
Yeah.
We deal with another character here and Dirt, and they go through that experience together. And I don't want to give anything away because I go too much farther on that end. It's
Right.
it's pretty
It was
awesome. But
excellent. It was
yep.
excellent.
But I'll tell you what, the first image we get to of interior art is the same guy we got last time around. And again, just I forget the witch doctor's name or whatever the hell, snake oil salesman, but
Yeah.
he's a sight. That's for
Yeah.
fucking sure.
He
Yeah.
sure is. He
Yeah.
sure is.
But then the last book from Image that we want to talk about, I'll let you lead us off on this one, Joe, is the long-awaited return of Nita Hawes' Nightmare blog.
Love it. Absolutely loved it. I mean, we loved the first arc, and I believe we were chatting with Rodney Bragg.
Mm.
I think it was in one of our DMs, but he
That's
just
when
said,
you said, "Oh, in the DMs." Okay, fine. Yeah. Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
right. About like wait till you read the next arc of Nita Hawes, and it kicks off with such a fucking bang. And where you see Nita after the events from the first arc, and then who the main villain is going to be in this arc, and where the story's going to go, it was so fucking good. It was
Yep.
a perfect first issue to set up because some shit is gonna happen. It's gonna get weird. It's gonna get wild, and I'm here for all of it.
So you're absolutely right. And my one thing I want to add is like I feel like Rodney he's like entered a zone. Look, Jason Sean Alexander and him are doing a kick-ass job in Philadelphia. And I know Jason Sean Alexander's all involved in this title as well. But even though he's not the artist, Seisman Kudransky is, who we enjoy his work quite a
Mhm.
bit as well. Especially when we're dealing like horror stuff. The guy does an outstanding job.
Yeah.
The character that they introduce in this,
Hmm.
did Rodney tell us that was going to happen? And any like, because I feel like that was like when I saw it, I was like, oh fuck. But then I was like, wait a minute, did we did he
I'm
give
sure.
us like
I'm trying to remember. I'd have to go back and listen to our last chat with him, or go through the messages there and see if he kind of tipped his hand a little bit. But it was just so good, man.
yeah.
It was just
Yeah.
like this is like a because Howlin' Henry was such a great
Oh,
antagonist,
yep.
right? And such a great villain, and he was ferocious and just evil down to his bones, right?
Hmm.
And so the character that we're gonna get now seems a bit more calculated,
Yeah.
a bit more refined, if you will, right? And just the idea of how he's going to tell this story is very Philadelphia esque,
Right. Which does track given the
right?
universe and the writer and everything.
Well,
Yep.
yeah, but like Nita Haas, like its only real thread was Jimmy Sangster,
Mm,
right? And you're dealing with, a monster, a soul. But what I mean by Philadelphia esque, and I don't want to spoil anything, but it's
yeah.
you know the types of characters that
Yeah.
Rodney, right? And I think we're going to get some of that at play here a bit.
Yeah, and the thing, like like again, not spoiling things, but there's like layers to this character. Like the first thing you get is the character's badass vibe, but then there's even more to it, and it's kind of similar to what he did with Hal and Henry. But don't want to dig too much further into that. But this character, I'm very, very much in on. So yeah, so some awesome stuff there, and I do think that the amount of time that's happened between issue 6 and issue 7 in real life is like
Yeah,
the same amount of time that's happened in the books too. So
yeah,
I do
yeah,
appreciate that.
yeah,
Nice little touch there. Kind of rolling through some of these other ones, Joe. Actually, do you want to take us through everything else
yeah.
before we? Yeah.
So Skybound, we have The Walking Dead Deluxe number 45. I have Boom, Dune, House of Canley number 4, which I believe is the final issue of that, and Angel issue number 8. From AWA, we have New Think number 3. Looking forward to that one. Dark Horse, we have Parasomnia, The Dreaming God, #1. This is the second arc to Cullen Bunn's sort of
Mhm.
horror nightmare kind of story that he told. And also from Cullen Bunn, we have Tales from Harrow County, Lost Ones, #4.
Dark Horse
Right,
is just slowly becoming the Colin Bunn publishing
right.
company. Seriously.
From IDW, we have Usagi Yojimbo issue 30. We have Dark Spaces, Wildfire, #2. That's Scott Snyder and Hayden Sherman. See, I can get it right.
Look at you.
Right. And then we have what I'm assuming is called True Cult #1, but it's spelled TRVEKVLT.
Yeah.
I'm gonna assume that's True Cult #1.
Yeah.
From Dynamite, we have Lady Hell #1 and Immortal Red Sonja #5. Comixology, you have Canary issue #2
Yeah,
dropping.
buddy.
Reddit, fantastic.
Fuck
From
you.
Aftershock, there's Jimmy's Little Bastards #1, which I kind of have to read just based on the title.
Yeah, it's
Um,
not that's not is that the NS one?
oh, I think it is actually. I think it is. So you better read it and call dibs
Dibs.
quick.
I'm
All
calling
right,
dibs
fine.
now. Sight unseen. Yep.
Fine. Still gonna
Fuck
read
you.
it. Where Starships Go to Die #3. And then from Vault, we have Quests Aside #4, Heart Eyes #1. We Ride Titans #5. And then Nicholas, you have a book you want to touch on real quick.
Yeah, want to end things on Barbaric Axe to Grind issue 1 because it's been a while since we've delved into or since we got the first arc, the finale. That was only 3 issues, and it looks like this one's only going to be 3 issues as well. We did get a one shot fairly recently, and I actually did label that one as my comic of the week a while back when it was out. So gave you guys a little bit of a recap of the important details from those things on Geeks Worldwide in case you needed a bit of a refresher. What we're trying to do over there, something new that we haven't really seen on any other comics reviews websites. But I'll tell you what, if you like the first arc in simple, in plain, like you will love the start of the second arc here of Barbaric. The action in this shit, man. Whew. They kicked like it was already pretty violent, pretty gory, but they kicked it up a notch. But again, this is not some horror thing. This is action. This is supposed to have like a kind of a funny feel to it, and it absolutely does, especially considering the axe gets drunk off of the blood of the victims of Owen the Barbarian that wields him. Get a little couple twists and turns in here as well. You're kind of figuring out what's going on with a character that Owen's known in the past, but we don't really know as well. It's going to kind of present some issues. And also, and again, I mentioned like the violence, but like, when that happens, it's usually like a panel or two. We've had this where it's like one panel that's like really going to stick with you, or maybe one page that's really going to stick with you. There are like 5 at least images in this thing that are like, oh, fuck. Like you get a few pages in with the first issue that they're dealing with, but then there's something much later on that I'm just like, I cannot believe I just fucking saw that. Like they just did this character so dirty right here, so vicious. But awesome stuff. I will be talking about Barbaric on TLDR. Uh, why is my old clock, your background right now?
R.I.P.
Okay. Well, anyways, that is it for what's new this week, which means that is it for TLDR this week. But again, make sure if you're just catching us now on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, go subscribe to the show on one of the audio channels. So that way you get this later on in the week. This will be dropping on Friday because our Friar Side Chat with Christa Faust to talk about Hit Me, Peepland, Bad Mother, and Redemption are going to be available only on our audio channel. So make sure you subscribe there so it gets delivered right to your listening device on Wednesdays at midnight. Joe, you got anything before we get going?
I got nothing, brother.
All right. Until next week, then, stay sexy.
You know it.